I want to thank the Theosophical Society for hosting this wonderful lecture, The Shaman's Life Lessons. I want to thank you all for taking the time to be with me today. It's a pleasure and an honor. First of all, a little bit about me. My name is Billie Topa Tate. Topa Tate means four winds. My totem is the wind, and it carries my voice, it carries the information, and that's the story about my Native American name. My other Native American name is Wazayata, wind that sings. And that means that I was born to share in words and in energy. And also, my father used to tell me that maybe it means that I talk too much. But, and I think that was just a wonderful joke that he used to share with me. I used to love that. So I welcome you, and I want to share some wonderful things with you today about my training as a medicine woman, a shaman, and also some of the things I learned in the energy world. Before we start this lecture, it's our tradition to create a wonderful sacred intention for our sessions, even if it's conversation, ceremony, sharing time. Most of the time when we teach in what is called training circles, teaching circles. Circles are very important to us. We have observed the Creator, the Great Spirit, and all of the Great Spirit's work. And when we have observed the Great Spirit creating, we have observed that the creation was in circles, giving and receiving, the continuous circle of life. So we utilize those in our ceremony for our medicine wheel, our sweat lodge, our teaching circles. So let us imagine today that we are sitting in a circle, that this circle is a circle of absorbing wonderful information from not just from me, but from all the wonderful teachers who want to reach out and touch you in some way to help you. To give you insight, fresh energy, wisdom, all of those things. So by giving you some of my insights and my training as a medicine woman. So the shaman's life lessons, my teacher taught me about the energy world and the different realms, different worlds that we can access. And my teachers told me that all these different realms were accessible by gaining wisdom. The more wisdom that we gain, the more we can access these different realms. Now, lots of people ask me, what does the energy world look like? What do those realms look like? So I would say to that when you get in your car and you go to different neighborhoods, there's different energies, qualities of energies, different people speaking in different ways. There are all of these things in the energy world as well. The difference that I can see very clearly in the energy world is that you can see your spiritual guides, your teachers in spirit, your virtuous relatives, your virtuous ancestors. All of them know that it's important to share concepts with you, ideas with you, assisting you in wonderful ways. I was very fortunate to have a lot of wonderful teachers in my life. They were with me from the time I was about 11 years old, and I'm close to 7 years old now, so it's been a long time. And even now, when they are on the other side, they're still helping, teaching, guiding in such a good way. And so when you're around very evolved energy, you can feel that in every cell of your being, that there is no hidden agendas, that there is a goal to be of service, to help you, to become wise, to evolve. And so there's a part of us which we call the medicine spirit that is in the center of the heart center and at the crown chakra. These two places are very important, even in meditation. So when we access this medicine spirit, that we're connecting with that higher aspect, that inner light that we carry, all of us carry. And so we can hear things, we understand things even at a cellular level of truth. People often ask me, what is dream time? What is the dream time realm? And it is definitely, as my teachers would say, a place where we learn that we have gifts and powers that we are not using wisely, or we are unaware that we have these wonderful powers. My teacher used to tell me a lot of wonderful stories, and, because I was 11 or 12, adjusting the stories so that I can understand them. And my teacher said, Billie Topa Tate, dogs have puppies, cats have kittens, God has godlets. And that's who we are. We're walking this earth with a tremendous amount of power, and we are accessing this tremendous power. And when we do that, we're learning so much about how to awaken that great power within us. And so when he said that to me, I said, oh, so are you saying that I have these gifts? And he said, yes, everyone has them. And he said, Billie, before I transition over, I want to have you understand a concept. And the concept is persistence will bring inevitability of enlightenment, because you are using the quality of persistence for the goal of your life levels to aspire to be a better person, or a person that has more wisdom. The more wisdom that you have, that you understand how the universe works. It's phenomenal. It helps you to be inspired to learn even more, to understand those things and to share them with others. So dream time is really a time when we are learning so much about ourselves, our gifts, our powers, that we may be using incorrectly. There is a celestial curriculum designed for our life's journey and spirit. My teacher used to say that the universe and Mother Earth is definitely a learning place, but also a place to enjoy what we have learned about ourselves. And also, my training in dream time, I'll tell you the first story, the first training that I received when I was around 12 years old. I was in dream time with my teachers. And I remember this to this very day because it shifted the first concept into my mind. And I was sitting on these boulders that made like a little mountain, big boulders. And I was on top of the mountain of boulders. And looking down, there was this beautiful river. It was very, very far down there. It must have been like 15, 20 feet or more. I was eating a sandwich. My teachers were way back behind me. I looked down. I saw this big fish just kind of swimming around, nice and calm. All of a sudden, the fish rose from the water all the way up to where I was and grabbed my sandwich and went right back down into the water. And I said, that fish took my sandwich. However, the thought that came into my head was, if that fish that has a level of consciousness, maybe about this much, could come out of its own limitations, its perception of its own world, and float up to grab my sandwich, I can't imagine what I can do. I thought about that and I turned to my teachers and they were smiling, because in dream time I realized that maybe I have limitations. Maybe I am keeping myself in worlds, and maybe there are other realms, worlds that are limitless. I thought there for a very long time, And that to this very day inspires me to think out of that realm of limitations. After a while, I manifested another sandwich, and I sent a message to the fish, "You can't have this one," which was really funny because the fish said, "Okay, I'm not going to have that one." And so you really learn from your experiences, not just in the dream time, but walking on earth. My teacher also said, when you navigate your dream time with the wisdom that you receive, you will do more than the same on the earth. And so your dream time is really a learning time. It's a healing time. You get to understand your energy, your gifts, your powers, using them for a lot of purposes. One being that you are a student, a teacher, and also striving always to be of service in a wise and good way. That is on all of our energy fields. So as I sat there, my teachers came and talked to me about a story. They said, "Billie Topa Tate, do you know that your consciousness, as all of our consciousnesses on the earth, everyone that is a sentient being, uses the gift that the Great Spirit has given, which is our consciousness, which accesses different worlds. The world of light, the world of angels, the world of teachers, the hall of wisdom, the healing worlds, but also the worlds of limitations, of fears, of frustrations." They also talked to me about that there are different parts of us. And once we become aware that there are different parts of us, for example, when someone talks to us and we are frustrated or upset, we always need to ask ourselves, what part of us is responding to what just happened right now? Is it the part of us that feels abandoned or not heard or frustrated or angry? These parts of us belong to a part of our consciousness that has to do with our past. And that past can never provide us any insight about our future. It doesn't know how to do that. And they told me that accessing other parts of our consciousness that has patience with ourselves, love for ourselves, peace for ourselves, healing for ourselves, wisdom for ourselves, is the part of our consciousness that will allow for us to experience great insight, healing, evolution. And this is the part that we must always be in, because this part has no idea about how to provide us with the future. So they gave me some homework. They said, "Billie Topa Tate, I want you to think 5 to 10 new thoughts about yourself on a daily basis." They said, what happens with all individuals is most of the time their thoughts are about the past. And as a result of that, all of their future is created from their past. And so today, your homework is, I want you to tell me 5 to 10 new ideas about yourself. And as I was standing there, I thought, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know that I've ever thought new thoughts about myself. And they said, yes, you did. When that fish took that piece of sandwich out of your hand, you said, if that fish can do that, what can I do? I can do so much more. I can think about where I can be with my consciousness. I'm here with my teachers and my wonderful helpers, and they provide me with great insight. But also I can ask about what other realms are there? What other realms can I access to help guide me to bring insight into the world? So there's a lot of stories as a result of walking the energy world and learning so much. Just the concept of knowing that maybe I have limitations that I can think about. And I'd like you to think about that too. One of your homeworks is what they have given me. I'd like you to think about having different thoughts about yourself that are very empowering with these parts of yourself. The part that has great compassion for you, the part that has patience, wisdom, insight, healing, and not to worry about what will be there. Just stay in those parts of who you are, because wisdom comes from those places. And so it's very important for us to think about, how do we respond to any event, whether it be small or large? It doesn't matter. So we're going to go to the next. We learn by watching wisdom-filled teachers in the spirit world. However, there are so many wonderful teachers that can help you provide insight through books and different things that your medicine spirit, your higher self, your inner light guides you to. And as I said before, there is this beautiful journey on this wonderful Mother Earth for you. I'm going to talk about something called dispersing in the light. And when I was in the energy world with my teachers in dream time, I was walking with another teacher in the making. She was going to be doing another type of teaching, working with, people who have addictions and things that I was very, very proud to walk with her in the dream time. And we were walking, and I saw a beautiful light. And we were both very calm, and our teachers were behind us. And I said, let's go towards that beautiful light. And as we were walking closer to the light, we were about 10 miles away, maybe, I saw these wonderful teachers around what looked like a campfire, but it was a light. And what they were doing is their aura was like the sun, very bright, except for there was these little parts that had some different colors. They were more condensed colors of, browns and grays and things of that nature. And as I observed them, what they were doing is they were taking that part of their aura and making a sacred intention of dispersing it in the light. So they were taking those parts of their energy field that was stagnant or congested by emotions or maybe traumas or a past life, and they were grabbing that energy and putting it into the light. And it came to my mind, I thought, they're dispersing congested energy in the light, dispersing in the light. As I watched them, I sat and I took notes. I watched how they were doing it, what they were thinking about, how they were releasing it. I heard them say, I have brought myself forward in imperfection many lifetimes. Today, I release that and bring myself in this life with this perfect aspect of who I am. And their aura was getting brighter. And I was taking notes, and so was she. And I looked at her and I thought, maybe we can take this beautiful technique and bring it down to the earth. And she said, I agree. She said, this is going to work really wonderful because I can help people who have addictions to disperse it in the light. I said, yes, and I know that I can teach this particular technique to the world in that way also. I turned to my teachers and they smiled and nodded. I went to the teachers that were around this beautiful light and asked, may I bring this back to the earth? And they said, absolutely. Creating a sacred space is good. And I said, I'll remember. So I took my notes and I went back into waking up for my work and started to write immediately all the things I saw. And I thought, this is wonderful, dispersing in the light, because you see there are different vibrational states. And our energy field, our physical body, carries all of our thoughts, our images from the past lives we've picked, but also the things that we've experienced in this lifetime. Gives us a perception of things which may be congested and doesn't allow for the energy to flow like a river, which is what the body needs, is to have the energy flow in such a good way. So I took all these notes and I sat with my teachers and I said, what can we do? And so I did this beautiful circle and taught some of my students to disperse things in the light, things that they felt were blocks and obstacles to their life, and replaced it with an invoked aspect of higher vibration of insight and wisdom for those areas. And I encourage you to do the same. Doesn't have to be a ceremony, just a wonderful intention that you would like to disperse a block and obstacle in your life. So the dispersing of the light technique that I teach our Reiki classes, and the advanced aspects of the classes, is part of that wonderful vision that I saw in dream time. This is a photograph that I took in Arizona, and a lot of people that look at this wonder, is it just a piece of art? Well, it is a energy map. And you'll notice to the right of the map here, there is a wonderful being that is traveling up to the spirit world. And that happens a lot. In this particular section here are what are called energy maps to different realms in the dream time. You'll see more here, and also here. So as they travel up, you can't see it so much on this picture, but there are angels, helpers, there to guide the medicine man that's going up into the energy world to retrieve information and bring it back down after ceremony. So this is it's an energetic map, and lots of people don't know that see these particular things, but it is definitely an expression in the petroglyphs that are centuries old about accessing wonderful higher realms to bring back information. And each one of us has a celestial curriculum designed to assist us. And the more that we work with the higher aspects of our thoughts and, techniques like meditation, which is very good, it really helps us to assist. You don't know what you don't know. And so when you know that you can go to those realms to ask for assistance, you will receive it. So the universe itself is a school for our higher education. That is what our teachers have told us, and I feel that is a true statement. Our virtuous teachers in spirit are there to help us connect with various wisdom levels of our own consciousness to raise our own life levels. And everyone walks this earth. It looks human, and they are, but we are all at different life levels. So the goal, of course, is to assist us in raising our life levels constantly. So I'm going to switch over to the next one. So when I took this picture, this is a beautiful sacred site, and this particular area was open to us many, many, many years ago when my mother and my father, Mama Little Wolf, Papa Little Wolf, would take us up to these places to talk to a medicine man, to express prayers, things, to hear counsel, to give us more insight about what we were going through. So when I was a little girl, I didn't have a camera, so I'm sorry I'm not able to give you a photograph of what it looks like on the inside where the medicine man was. We'd climb these mountains to be in the presence of these teachers to assist us in our insight and also to give us some wonderful, what you would call attunements, to realign what we call our column of light that is along the spine so that we can go out back into our communities and be of service. So here, what they did is, I think the Forest Preserve put the stones up against the doorway because, well, people, go in there and damage things, so it stands to reason they would want to protect it. So there's stones there where we would normally enter and speak to the medicine man. The sacred sites were known to us as places where holy medicine people, holy medicine men, and medicine women would provide us healing energy, wisdom, and a connection to the Creator and to our wonderful teachers in spirit. During our upbringing, we would travel to have a medicine man hear our prayers. Many years ago, this place was open and a platform where the medicine man would stand and the virtuous spirits that would hear our prayers. And the medicine man that was there made a commitment to hear our prayers even after death. And so you'll notice there's some beautiful petroglyphs, and I don't think that you'll be able to see that, but there are beautiful spirits here that are carved into the stone that all of the native people are talking with. And here, right here, you'll see that there's a moon and a medicine man, doing a ceremony. This is the same place. You'll notice that I'm kneeling down, talking to the medicine man about my prayers. I traveled up this mountain. It was raining, so my hair was all wet. But you'll see that there are beautiful spheres of light listening to my prayers. These are all the spirit helpers that are listening, and then the medicine man is listening to my prayers. This is a picture taken from high up in the mountains in Arizona, where a medicine man would listen and provide wonderful connections to the spirit world. And he made a commitment to all the people that would come to him to listen to the prayers. So it's really wonderful that the person who I was with took these photographs to see all these beautiful spirits that were listening to what I was saying. Those are just a wonderful verification. This picture is when we were coming down from the mountain after being in ceremony with our divine helpers. And you'll notice that, we're traveling, we're already low to the ground, and one of my relatives, we call him Toyoshpaye, he's pointed to me and he goes, "Look," and I said, "I got to take a picture." And so the two beautiful spirits that very, very beautiful and very, very wonderful were actually looking down from the mountain to say goodbye. And so this is a very beautiful example that we do not walk this world alone. We have all of us have virtuous teachers in spirit, wonderful divine helpers. We call them energetic resources. Their purpose with all of us, if we ask for their help, and we can ask for their help all the time, provide us with great insight. And, as I said before in one of my lectures, because people often ask me, how do you know when it's them talking? How do you know when it's your teachers in spirit talking to you? Or it's just my mind creating things? That's a big difference. The difference is that when you are being guided by your wonderful virtuous guides and they say something very insightful to you, every cell in your being wakes up and says, yes, that is true. That is the truth. It enlightens you, and you are never the same. you take that concept and you bring it into other parts of your life, and it works. So, the goal, of course, is if we have these energetic resources, and we do, we can ask for their help. It doesn't matter whether it's trying to, raise your financial prosperity or it's healing a spiritual crisis. They're there for all of those things because they want very much to help with the life levels of all people. Now, when we were coming down from the mountain where the maps were, I saw this beautiful spirit here, right here. And, I'm hoping that you can see that it has wings. And they were saying goodbye because we were heading home. And our stories say that mountains are wisdom places. Mountains have special energy to provide insight and reconnect with higher levels of awareness. I'm sure that when you climb a mountain, you feel that energy. It's almost like you don't want to leave that mountain. It's a beautiful experience. Our stories say that mountains were created for lots of purposes, but one of the things is that wisdom sits there. And what that means is that as our elders, as our medicine people evolved, and other cultures, sages and shamans evolved, they want very much to be of service. So they manifest as mountains, as wonderful mountains. And when you sit on the mountain, or you climb the mountain, or you get close to the mountain, you have different insights. Let me tell you a story that my teachers told me about. They said, Billie, you know about meteor showers. I said, yes, I've seen meteor showers. I read about them. And what they said was, they are very mystical tools. Meteors come from great distances from other universes. And the Great Spirit wants us not to be stuck in our thoughts, but to have insights and other thoughts. So when meteor showers happen, it is very important for you to do some meditation and ask for different insights. The minerals from other planets that were alive before can give you great insight. We use stones in our ceremonies to share their stories with us. They're the oldest relatives on the planet. But when meteor showers occur, all of those particles, those different minerals from other universes that cross the span of time and space to nourish Mother Earth actually provide us with additional insights through those things. So I recommend for you that, when you know that there's a meteor shower, to do a little bit of meditation, to ask for different insights about things that are happening in your life. So I remember that, and I'm always excited about the meteor showers because those are particles from other places that we haven't visited and have not experienced. But they have insights, they have experiences that are brought into this world through the particles of those minerals. We also know through our training, when lightning strikes a piece of wood, we say that it is touched by the finger of God. And we collect those things and we use them as instruments for our wonderful ceremonies and meditation. And I remember my teachers telling me about that. And the first time they took me out and they said, okay, so tell me which one of these pieces of wood and trees received the finger of God, which one got struck by lightning. As I looked, I saw that energy was emanating from particular pieces of wood, and I collected them. And I said, these are the ones that I see that were struck by the finger of God. And they said, yes, that's correct. So I would take them home and make things from them. Things like talking sticks, meditation platforms, and all of that, because the energy was still there. And as I went home that day, and the lightning was still occurring, I saw this lightning strike a tree when I was getting ready to put my backpack on and head on home. And as I stepped out to look at the tree and the lightning struck it, a piece of the wood flew out from the belly of the tree, and I touched it. And when I held it in my hand, it was vibrating with that energy. And I thought, this is a gift, a wonderful gift, which I still have to this very day. And I think about it and I say, this is energized by the finger of God. So we use all of those particular pieces of wood for our drum beaters, and anything that we are going to be using as an energy tool. So you might want to think about doing that. The place of light. There is a place within the energy world where qualities reside that can be used for healing, wisdom, and intervention. These qualities can be brought into this world. I'm going to share this story about this sphere of light here. You'll notice that there are a number of spheres of light moving into this earth that I brought from our land in Arizona. Earth is very, very healing, and it has minerals in it that are very, very important. And I was working with a family member who was dealing with, cancer. And one of the things that my wonderful teachers provided for me was great insight about what to do to extract toxins from the body. So I brought the earth from the land, and I put it down on the bed. And then I asked for the Great Spirit to infuse it with healing properties that would extract toxins from the body. So as I did that, I got this beautiful voice that said, "You're welcome to take a picture." And I said, I'm going to take a picture. So I took a picture, and this is what came out. You see that these beautiful spheres of light are infusing the earth that I put down on the bed for her to lay down on, was present. So I asked her to sleep on this earth. I covered it with another sheet so she felt comfortable. And she said it was very cooling, very peaceful, very loving. And the next day, when I uncovered the sheet, the earth was green and orange and all these colors that were extracted from her. I thought that was very, very fascinating. And she said, I feel so much better. I feel very light. So you see, there is qualities that come from the realms of healing with our expressed desires. Now, there are many, many books out there now about the mind, body, spirit, that they're all connected, and that's so true. And it's good to have a plant-based diet. It's good to have all of those things. But the component that is so very important is the aspect of our mind, and that thoughts are medicine. Our images are medicine. Our beliefs are medicine. And there's a technique that my teachers gave me for my family member. And every night, she would do this technique. And one of the techniques was that she would say out loud a wonderful affirmation, really loud. And her affirmation was, my body is healing, my mind is healing, my spirit is present. And so she would say that really loud, like a mantra. Then the next step was to whisper it. My body is healing, my mind is healing, my spirit is present, whispering it. And then the third stage was to release both those things and go into thinking those things. My body is healing. my mind is healing. My spirit is present. So it went from saying it loud to saying it in a whisper, and then saying it just in the mind. She would fall asleep and go into a beautiful place of healing. So that medicine from the energy world was teaching her, yes, plant-based food and all of those wonderful things that is so important, but the mind is so important to be a medicine also. So it really taught her how to really ask herself, how am I responding to the world in my emotions and my thoughts? And I need to be in this place where there is wisdom, compassion for myself, peace for myself, patience for myself, healing for myself. I cannot go to those other places, which got me in this place in the first place. I can't go there. I have to be here. And my teacher said to me, Billie Topa Tate, when we experience this great healing power, this peace, and our wonderful connection, it's a little hard to keep them on the farm when they've seen Perry. And what that means is when we experience this wonderful place that we can be in our mind, no matter what happens, because one of the things that my teacher said was, we are connected to this great power. How can we be powerless? It doesn't happen. Only with our perceptions does that happen. We're connected to this great power always with our intention. And when that happens, that power is within us even more. So you see, this is very interesting, and I'm going to move this. This is a picture I took when we were doing our sweat lodge. And this is one of our staff members. She was going into the sweat lodge. You'll see beautiful spheres of light that go into the lodge to listen to our prayers. This ceremony was taught to us to help us connect with our divine helpers, teachers, and healing qualities. The spheres of light appearing in this picture are coming into the lodge with us to hear our questions, concerns, and sacred intentions. These ceremonies bring fresh energy into our thoughts. They share, I spoke about the meteor showers, but in the ceremony, we do what are called prayer ties before we go into the ceremony. And what we do is we ask for particular questions that we might have about people that we love, that give us some insight. How can we help them? Give us some insight. How can we serve in this way? What do we do about this situation? And all of those things occur. And because I'm clairvoyant, I see them very clearly when they come into the lodge, and they're listening to what we have to say. And also, I want you to understand that ceremony can be this type of ceremony, or just having a quiet moment and just being connected to that wonderful power that has brought you into this world in the first place. And allowing for that wonderful power to hear what you have to say. I remember when I was a little girl, my first situation with a friend who at that very young age was experiencing cancer. And I asked my teachers, what can I do? And they said, well, come into that place of ceremony with me. So I did. I sat there and I said, how can I be of service to this wonderful child? And they provided me with great information, wonderful information. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a sweat lodge that this is our way. However, there are so many other different ways of approaching, your wonderful teachers, which we all have. When we were on the island of Kauai many, many, many years ago, I used to bring my students there because one of my teachers lived on the island and would help me, to have wonderful training for them. And I remember in the morning, we start with a sacred intention. Sacred intentions help us bring qualities of energy into the world. However, what we're doing in the morning with our morning ceremony, of sacred intention, we're actually adjusting our aura to help us guide us to our expressed desire of what we're expecting and what we're wanting to have in that day. You will notice, because we did this wonderful morning prayer to have our wonderful helpers to be around us, there are beautiful spheres of light around these beautiful flowers, and, this is, you can't see it, but Monique is there doing yoga. She is, with the other wonderful students that we brought, and we had our morning sacred intention, and then we were doing some yoga, and I was looking out and I said, oh my goodness, look at these beautiful spheres of light. I think I'm going to try my best to take a picture, and I did, and it was very, very wonderful. I asked my teachers, what are these? And they said they were building elements. They were energies that were supporting the flowers to be in their state of blooming. So the island of Kauai, before we started our morning yoga, began with a wonderful morning celebration or ceremony to ask for our divine helpers to be with us. And you'll notice those beautiful spheres. The shaman, the medicine woman or the medicine man, works with the natural world, helps us connect with our higher spirit of self, unlocks wonderful energies and wisdoms within us, brings fresh energy to our situations, new insights, fresh tools, and opportunities for enlightenment, which can be shared with others. An example of that, I remember one of my teachers was, he said, well, I'm going to be transitioning. And he smiled. He goes, I'm getting a promotion. I need to talk with you. And he said, Billie, the quality of persistence always prevails when you are using it to heal and gain knowledge. So he said, never give up. You have within you all that you need to have insight and resolution. And he said, where there is stress, there is focus. Where there is focus, there is great potential for resolution. And so I remember that, and one of there were lots of beautiful life lessons that I had with my teachers, but positive, realistic, wisdom-filled persistence will always prevail. And so this is a universal principle. There are many universal principles in the universe that runs not only Mother Earth, but all the planets and the universes throughout the Creator's creation. So you want to make sure that you know that your wonderful wisdom-filled persistence and always asking for insights as you progress in whatever is happening with your heart, with your medicine spirit, and with your openness to understand principles and concepts that the universe has will always prevail. This is my book. I just wrote this book recently. I called it the Book of Sacred Wisdom. This is my first book because you see, as I get older, I know that I need to write these things down. Really important, because I want to make sure that anyone that would like to understand the inner plane helpers, our ceremonies, our words, our everything that I learned, I'm doing my best to put into books. This is the first one. And I'm writing the second one now. And when I say I'm writing it, I take 2% of the credit because I'm just a good listener to my teachers. Even when I was 11 years old, when my mother handed me over to my wonderful teachers, I knew that information, those guidance, the patience and the love that they provided me wasn't just for me. And I remember everything that they have provided me, and that's why I wanted to write these books. So it's the writings of a medicine woman, sharing more wonderful personal training and techniques and applications of the energy world and healing wisdom for our life's journey. So you can get that on our website. It's msi-healing.com. And I haven't really looked for a publisher yet, but I'm going to try because with the time I have, I didn't get a chance to do that, but I will.